Yeah, I'd like to welcome everyone to a special Monday night edition of the Comedy Factory Comedy Chat. I got a special guest on tonight. I haven't worked with him since like 2003 at Stitch's Comedy Club in the Providence Place Mall. He's been making people laugh his whole life. He's been getting paid for it since 1990 professionally. He considers himself a storyteller by nature, draws most of his comedy from real life experiences. Pleasure to have you on tonight, Brad Mastrangelo, Boston headliner. How you doing, Brad?
Great to be here, John. Like you said, it's been a long time, but like I said, I like watching the shows. You have a great time. It's good for me to see people you haven't seen. It's terrific. It really is terrific.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun. It's funny because I've been doing it. You started in 90. I started in 91, so we're kind of like at the same.
Yeah.
And I didn't work with you the first 14 years, and then I worked with you, and then I haven't worked with you.
I know.
So it's crazy. It's a 30-year career, and I worked with you 1 weekend in the middle.
And that was was that Dana's place, right? Was that Dana's place in the mall?
Dana was booking it at the Providence Place Mall,
Yeah.
Comedy Club. We worked a weekend or two together.
Yeah. That was a nice little place. I remember being kind of up in the corner of the stage. Looked like half a strip club, half a comedy club.
Yeah, you know what? The guy he was a real estate developer and a doctor. They were two great guys.
Yeah.
They lost $1 million. They decided probably a bad idea, open a comedy club in a mall with that parking garage and all that. And they opened it, and they had big ideas, and I was excited about it. But then after 2 years, they went under, unfortunately.
Well, the connection when Dana was booking that, I used to love that place. That was a fun room, man. That was really fun.
Oh yeah.
For years. I haven't worked there since she got out of it, but I don't even know who runs it now. I forget.
Two guys, Corey Brailsford and Dave.
Oh, right. Because he for a little while, that Corey, he booked Nick's in Boston for like a short time.
Yeah, they took it over for a while. They did.
Yeah. And I did something for him. Matter of fact, I kind of bailed him out. And then I said, when he goes to Rhode Island, I called about sending something, and he never got back to me. So I says, let me give you a little advice. Don't forget your friends. But he forgot me.
Yeah. Yep.
But I guess they're doing very well, so good for them. That's great.
Yeah, they're coming back. Everybody's trying to come back from this. How have you handled the pandemic, Brad? Because I know, like me, you were busy working all the time, and all of a sudden the pandemic hit, and we all hit a wall. I mean, so how have you handled?
I was on a cruise ship when it hit. I was out and I was in Mexico. I was getting on the ship the next day when they shut everything down, and I figured I wouldn't even get on, but they wanted me to get on to do a show. I got on, and I got off a day later. And I'll never forget, John, I went to the Tampa airport. I had a car rented and everything. I thought the world was coming to an end. So my flight was 2:00. I go in, can I get an earlier flight to Boston? She says, quote, what time you want to go? It was empty. There was nobody there. So I got like an 8:30 flight, and I got home, and Logan was empty. I said, wow, this is crazy. But
it was crazy.
Yeah,
it's
sad. And it's hit us really hard, the comedians. It's really people. They don't realize it's a job. It's what we make a lot of our money.
You work so hard for 30 years or whatever. I worked 29 years and built up. I had different rooms going, and people call me back, repeat business, and different shows. And I was doing well for local.
You got a lot of rooms going.
Yeah, I had a lot of stuff going on, and I was doing really well. So I mean, I'm looking now to get back into it, but I don't see it getting as busy as it was for a while. And I don't know if I want to get that crazy busy, but I'm getting older. I'm gonna do some, but I'm not gonna do as much as I did before. Well,
I think people want it. So I think at some point when it comes back, it'll really come back. But I'm like you. I think it's going to take, the vaccine and all that stuff. Because shows here and there. Like, have you done Zoom shows? Like,
I tried. I can't. See, my act, I kind of mix with the crowd, the audience.
Right.
And I haven't really attempted to do. I said to why don't I do a Zoom comedy talk show, because I can't do my act on here. So it's worked out. I've met a lot.
It's weird though. The Zoom is. I've done a few, but I did one. This is funny. I tell people it was right after it started. The hotels got really hit hard, so it was a big hotel convention, So they said, oh, you can maybe sit through the presentation. Then, I said, okay. So I sit through the talk for an hour. The most depressing. The guy says, all right, now we're going to have some laughs with a comedian. Brad, go ahead. Just like that. So, John, I swear to God, I start the show. I go, shoot yourselves. Just shoot yourselves. I says, I've been watching for an hour. I'm going to shoot myself. These people got nothing left. It was so depressing. But in fact, and you can't see anyone doing the Zoom show. Well, back then, at first it was like I'm talking to myself. It was the weirdest. Then they go, oh, we loved you. I go, I guess I'll take your word for it. I have no clue. It's weird.
Yeah, I never attempted. That's why I did the Zoom. I've reconnected with people like you, different friends and old comics I work with by doing this because I can't really do my act on here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But this is fun. Like I've done a few, and it's for us. I think it's a lot of fun. A lot of guys you haven't seen, a lot of memories. It's almost like therapeutic to talk to comics. It
really is because we're all trying to get through this thing.
Yeah.
And, this has helped me get through it. If I didn't do these Zoom talk shows, I don't know how I'd be here. This has helped me a lot.
I know.
Because I felt like I kept in touch with everybody through the year.
Yeah.
Different friends and people like you I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
So it's been good for me,
Yeah. Because I think that's what we miss too. People don't realize. I mean, most of my friends are comedians, my good, close friends, I mean, for giggles for a while, they had the tent up, and in the back, we'd all, Tony V and Lenny and all those guys. It was great. The show was one thing, but just to hang out and see people my wife would go, you got to go talk to well, she tells me to go all the time, but just get the hell out, go
crazy. Yeah. So how did you start? You started in 1990. How did you tell me about your career and what happened?
I just, you know what, John? Just honestly got on a dare. Excuse me. Never wanted to be a comedian. Never even thought about being a comedian. I'm such the anti-comedian. I was telling you, I never drank. I never did drugs. I was big into sports, and through college I played sports. And I'll tell you this: my friends they dared me. A bunch of friends. I was engaged to be married, and then the wedding got called off. I called it off. I don't want to. I'm going to be a moron. I'll be a moron. But everyone was, you're down with the dumps, and they dared me to do it, and just to shut them up. I said, I'll go. It was Nick's in Boston. Billy Martin. You remember Billy Martin?
I went there, did some open mics, and I met Billy Martin years ago.
Yeah. He's out. He's doing well now. He's out with Bill Martin. So I went in. There was a bunch of my friends from East Boston, my uncle's bar. We met at my uncle's bar in East Boston. We all were there. And Johnny, I wasn't even nervous because I figured I'm going to make an ass out of myself, and we'll all have a great time 20 years from now laughing at me. So I go on, and I go in. I figured it was all guys that never did it. And the guy says, oh, no, these are pros. They work out their material. I saw it was beautiful. So it's the cut. So I go on at the end. They give you 5 minutes, and I'm up there, and I don't even know what I'm talking about, but people are laughing, and now I'm laughing. Done. Okay, I did it. I'm over. That's it. Then the guy, Dominic Ventry, he used to book the club, and he comes over. He says, hey, how long you been doing this? I says, 5 minutes. So he, I think you've got something. I says, I think you're nuts. I said, I shut these guys up. I'm going home. So they talked me into going to, they had the comedy riots at Stitches in Boston. So they talked me to going in to do one of the nights. So I go in. It's about 8 guys. I go on, and I win my night. Second time.
Wow.
I swear to God. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying how stupid it is. But that I would, and then.
Must have blew your mind.
Blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. I says, you got to be shitting me. So now, I still wasn't even really. Then Dominic says, we'll give you, we'll pay you $25. So I says, yeah, pay me? Because I got my own carpet cleaning company. I still do to this day, but that's what I was doing. And so they started paying, and that's how it happened. Just kind of gradually, and then I moved up the middle, and then, probably honestly, maybe 2-3 years in, I started headlining some clubs, and that's how it is. It's just, and now it's been a blessing. I mean, I do a lot of cruise ships. I've traveled the world. Got to take my wife and daughter, so it's been great. You know, I have.
Wow. What's it
So I
like
don't.
doing, I was supposed to do a cruise and I wound up getting canceled, but what's it like doing comedy on a cruise ship? What's that like?
It's funny. Years ago, the thing was they would laugh at people if they did comedy on cruises. But now people are dying to do cruises. I mean, before this all hit, these things are huge, and some of them, you might go on for a week and do 2 shows, and everything's paid for. You get paid, and then now some of the big ships have comedy clubs now, so you might do a couple shows a night. But honestly, they're great. The crowds are great.
And they pay good. I always heard
They
the
pay real
cruises
good.
pay really good.
Yeah, they pay real good. They pay all your expenses. You get, like I said, you get to see the world. I mean, my daughter she's been to Italy and Greece and Turkey and.
How many cruises do you think you did, Bray? You did quite a few.
Yeah, I'd say at least 50 or so, maybe more.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
maybe
awesome.
more. And I kind of spread it out. So, I mean, I don't like travel a lot, but I have an agent and she knows I want to go for a week. Sometimes I want you to go for 2, 3 weeks because I don't want to really do. So I'll go for a week. A couple of times I went for 2, but that's, the longest. But I don't know what's going to happen now with the pandemic. But I've been doing it long enough that I got a little reputation, which is good. And so hopefully, when they come back, it'll. But I enjoyed it, and like you say, they pay good now. Comics, and you and I both know. And you do the cruises. You got to be clean for the most part. But then they have a late show if you want to. But like you do crowd work, and you do fine. They love that stuff on the cruise, But but then some guys, I got guys come up to me like they're filthy. You go, Brad, can you get me on the cruise ship? I said, cruise ship? You couldn't do a rowboat on my cruise ship. Every other word's after this. I said, you can't. Yeah, I can clean it up. I said, but you got to show them that you can. You can't just go. I'm not gonna take your word for it.
Yeah, I watched some a few different clips of you, earlier, and you got a great act. You do a great job.
Thank you.
I can see you being great for cruise ships because you're not a dirty comic. You're on the clean side, and you got, like you said, you're a storyteller, and I loved the joke, the one joke about you called AAA, and they came and they said, "Where do you want us to tow you to?" You said, "Tow me to work." I was laughing. That was a good one. That was a good one.
No, all that stuff like that. What I see, I love when in the back of a truck, it says, "How's my drive?" and they give you a phone number. So I call up. I go, "This guy's driving. What a great driver." I said, "Oh shit, he just hit a school bus. I'll call you back." It's like real life, Johnny. That's all. You sit there.
We're talking about being on a plane with a guy that's afraid to fly. I like that.
Yeah. I always get that guy. I get that guy all the time. Talk to me. We're gonna crash. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. It won't even hurt. We'll hit it so fast you won't even feel it. It'll be fine. The seat becomes a life raft. Yeah. Oh, I feel fine now.
That was crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, you do all these things. It's real life. Real life is the funny stuff.
Oh yeah. Now, when you started headlining, you were in Boston. It was kind of like when I started. It was after the boom, kind of when you came.
Yeah.
The boom was. See, I started in '83. I got up 3 times. I did really well, and I bombed twice. And I quit for 8 years. I said, I can't. And I came back in '91. I always wished I stuck around in the '80s because I would have got to work with so many. If I went around Boston, so many of those guys that were there, like Lenny and Steve Wright and Bobcat Goldway and Dennis Leary. Like I always said, wow, imagine if I had stuck around in '83.
I know.
Who knows who I would have at least met, and I talked to guys that were there in the '80s. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
When I came in, I did Catch a Rising Star in Cambridge. Then they closed. Brian Kiley was hosting. I did Stitches. Vinny Favorito was hosting. I did that a few times, open mic. Then they closed. Yep. There was another one, a couple other ones. In Periwinkle's Comedy Club. They closed. Different clubs they started closing. So we came in after the boom. So,
I never got to do Periwinkle's, the original one. Didn't they have like a balloon outside or something, John?
Well, that was the Comedy Connection had a balloon. Connection had a balloon.
I see it. But Periwinkle's, I didn't get to do that. And I heard that was a great club.
I got in at the tail. I did it in '83, and then I came back in '91, and I was just getting in the door to host, and They had me open for Frank Santos, great guy, the hypnotist. And so I was just getting in the door, and then they closed. I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, it was like.
But no, the 80s, but I love listening to the guys tell the stories about that. It was, I mean, every night there was 7 nights a week.
I mean, even new guys were getting paid. Everybody was getting paid.
Crazy. It was crazy. And even when I started, I mean, that open mic night on Mondays was sold out. It was insane, you know. Or you do the Kowloon in August when Nick's ran it. There was sometimes we would do 4 shows each night, running back and forth. You'd be on stage going, "Shit, did I do this joke already?" Yeah, it was crazy. It was, you know, and like I said, we hit the tail end of it. But
what are some of the big acts you work with? You must have worked with a lot of the big of course, Lenny and Gavin and Sweeney.
Yeah, Pat Cooper. I worked with Pat Cooper. That was fun.
I love him.
He was a fun guy. He do the show. He said, "Okay, tomorrow I'm going out of Suffolk Downs, Brad." He loved the horses or the dogs. The weirdest guy, Gilbert Godfrey.
I worked with him once.
So you know.
I catch a rising star. Yeah.
I was looking at Nick's. I'll tell you what happened. So I come in. I was just, starting out. So I go back in the room to meet him. So I open the door. He dives under the table, John. I swear to God. Now he's under the table. I say, Gilbert, I just want to meet you. And I see his hand come up under the table. How you doing? That's it. He wouldn't come out of the table. He wore the same clothes for 5 nights in a row. This guy, the guy's a millionaire, but he was out there. He was definitely out there. But then I did Comics Come Home with Dennis Leary. That was really cool. That was a lot of.
Wow, that must have been great.
Yeah, that was my biggest thrill, I think, so far. Comedy, because Gannis Arena was about 7,000 people. That was good. We did it. I did it with. That night was me. It was Billy Burr, Patrice O'Neill, Noxie, Greg Fitzsimmons. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah,
it must have been awesome.
Yeah, that was. You get onto the stage with 7,000 people. I'm like, shit, I'm not the Comedy Connection anymore.
Wow, that must have been probably one of the biggest thrills of your career. Right?
Yeah, it was. Matter of fact, it was at the Gannis Arena, and this is how I started the show. I said, because it's at BU. And I said, I applied to BU and I didn't get accepted, and now I'm here and you're paying me, and I flipped them off. Matter of fact, that night they had a couple of guys from Aerosmith perform. I was in backstage with them. I was like a kid in the candy store. It was a lot of fun.
Wow. How's Dennis Leary? I always loved Dennis Leary, like his act and his movies. And
yeah, he was. It's funny. You hear so many things, but he was very nice to me. He came back before and introduced himself, and then after the show, very complimentary, and they have an after party. And so to me, he was really, really, really nice. And Stephen Knight was on that night. That's the first time I met him, and he's so funny. But he's exactly how he is off stage. He's this, right? He's the same way.
Like that off stage too.
He is. He came up to me after my set, and he says, "I really enjoyed your set." That monotone thing. And I go, well, "Thank you." And then we're leaving. He goes, "I did really enjoy your set." And I knew it was. I think Noxie was there. He goes, "That's good. That's good."
I saw Stephen Wright once at the Providence Performing Arts way back in the, I think it was in the 80s or whatever, when he was blowing up. He was hilarious.
Oh, he's got that brilliant brain, man. It's
the jokes that he comes up with is like, it's unbelievable.
Those guys like Joe Rogan kind of started, and Joe's done unbelievable. He's doing. And Joe was great because I always respected Joe because Joe was kind of dirty, but he would tell me, he goes, "But I write," and he would write dirty stuff, but it was funny dirty. He just wasn't throwing up much. He really took his craft, and he says, "I'm either going to make it or I'm not going to make it," and he made it. He did.
I tell you, I don't know if you ever heard of a guy. There used to be a guy in Rhode Island called Brian. His name was Brian Leary.
I have heard of him. Yes.
Yeah, he had a little company called Funny Farm Comedy. He would book little shows and parties, and I took this comedy class. I got in with him, and one time I was just starting out. He said, "I'm going to have you host the show in a month or whatever. There's a headliner from Boston. He's kind of dirty, Joe Rogan, and this other act. And so I didn't know anything about it. And, then about a week before the show, for whatever reason, it got canceled. And I never got to work. I would have worked with Joe Rogan, which would have been cool, but I never want to meet. And he wound up doing unbelievable. Look at him now.
Oh my God, he was really funny, and he was like a martial arts guy. Wasn't that like not jiu-jitsu, but those, I forget the name, but really, really good, like known around the country for it. He's a tough guy. And I'm happy for him. He's done happy for all those guys.
Did you know him pretty well back then?
It's been so long. I mean, he might still remember me, but we were he might have started a little bit before me, but we would work together a lot. And he'd crush. Every time he'd go on, he would just destroy the place, Who else? Like Bobby Kelly, Dane Cook were kind of in that time I did. They were a troupe. They were like Alan the Monkeys. Remember that?
Yeah. I remember booking Bobby Kelly, and it was probably mid-'90s, early '90s, mid-'90s. I booked him for headlining show. I knew him a little bit then. And Dane Cook, I wound up working with him in 2003. There was a benefit for the station fire. They had me host it, and Dane Cook was in the show, Colin Quinn. That's the only time I met Dane. Dane Cook, one time in the 90s, I called Bob Marley. I was friendly with Bob Marley.
Oh, yeah, Bob's great.
I used to book Bob Marley back then for not much money. He was starting out. And so then he said, I can't do this gig. He said, why don't you call my friend Dane Cook? And Dane Cook, I didn't know who he was back then, so I called Dane Cook, and he couldn't do it. But so I never got to work with him until like 2003, the one time I worked with him. Then he was just blowing up after that.
Yeah, he went, well, he did that, like the MySpace. Remember that or something? That's when he started. And
he built up a big following.
I give him credit. I mean, he took a lot of crap from people, but I said, you know what? You got to respect the hell out of what he did. I mean, he was a brilliant business guy, and he went crazy, And like I wish everyone, if you're a good guy, I wish everybody the best. Bob Marley's a great guy. I'm so happy for his success,
He's done unbelievable, yeah.
Like Billy Burr. I tell a story. Now, Billy, I hadn't seen him in a while, and I was going out to San Diego, and they had they got a comedy store in San Diego. We're just going on vacation. So I sent him a text. I said, geez, Billy, I'm going to go out. Text me right back. He says, I called the guy. You're all set. 8 o'clock Saturday night. You're good. So they don't forget, which I think Boston, us New England guys, they don't forget, Lenny Clark. I'll tell you, I always tell the story about Lenny. He's one of the most generous guys ever. I had just met him at Giggles, and I was going out to L.A. for the first time. He said, I'll get you on to the Laugh Factory. I said, all right. It was nice, but I never really thought of it. I get in my hotel in L.A. The phone's blinking. I pick it up. It's Lenny. Leaves me a message. You're all set. 7:30, whatever night it was. He didn't have to do that. I met him once. Yeah. But so that's really what I miss about it too with these guys.
I wound up working. Johnny Peasy at Bookman. I wound up working. I had never worked with Lenny, and all of a sudden, I worked with him on a Friday night. Comedy for a Cause.
Yeah.
A Wheelchair Strong Foundation. I worked with Lenny on a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday, like 3 different things. He was like the greatest guy. He was a nice guy. And then I worked at the Comedy Connection. The Dirty Show was a couple of years before this pandemic hit. It was really good. Jackie the Joke Man, Christine Hurley, Lenny Clark.
Oh yeah.
They had a ball, And
that's great. That's a great lineup.
Like you say, Bill Burr he didn't forget, because I used to book him at open mics. And then I booked him once to host a show for $25. And I used to do all you can eat, all you can laugh dinner comedy shows. It was at an old McDonald's chicken farm. They had all you can eat chicken, pasta, salad, bread. I said, Bill, you want to host tonight? $25. He never forgot that. And then all of a sudden he disappeared. And years later, I opened for him at the Connection, 2009. And then I had cancer, which I beat in 2000 around.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had kidney cancer, and Bill Burr. I wound up going backstage when he was at the theater in Boston. I forget the name of the theater, the one.
Oh, Wang or something.
Yeah, I think so. He sold out like 18 shows in like 12 nights. So I went backstage, and he was really cool. And then he wound up texting me in 2017. He had me open for him in New Hampshire at the Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom. That was like the biggest night of my career, Brad.
I remember that. I remember you talking about
2,000
that.
people, 2 shows, 2,000 a show. I get goosebumps. That was such a night for me. Just a regular working comic, and all of a sudden, just to get a taste of what it's like in the big time that one night. But I never forgot it. You know, and he never forgot that I helped him way back.
Yeah,
that means a lot. That means a lot to me. You know.
Yeah, and those are the guys you just can't help rooting for, and even the bigger they get, it's great. It's just fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Like Bill Burr had that King of Staten Island movie, which was awesome.
Yeah,
I saw that. Then he was on Saturday Night Live.
He's got the cartoon thing now.
Cartoon F is for Family, and, you know.
Because Al Duchamp does something in that. He was telling me.
Yeah,
He does. Yeah. There's another guy, Al Duchamp, Rhode Island guy.
He's a great guy.
I love that. I met him. I was doing a cruise. He was on another ship, and we ended up in Alaska together. And so we went out and had Al's a great guy.
He's a funny guy.
Oh, he's a funny guy. And who else? Yeah, Tommy. Look at Tommy Carter's done unbelievable. You know?
Tom Carter. I used to book him for like the same thing as Bob Marley. I used to book Tom Carter for like $150. Have him headline a Chinese restaurant like in the '90s. At one show, we did this Italian restaurant in Warwick, Rhode Island. It was a benefit. I had Tom Carter and Bob Marley on back to back.
Wow.
Try to get those two guys now back to back. It ain't gonna happen.
That's a great show.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
And he's done. Him and Kevin are doing great. You know, and that's like, I think it's, you know, like me, I think if you see some guys that can be bitter, and we're like, I think it's fantastic, because if you become a movie star, it doesn't put a dime in my pocket. It doesn't take a dime out. So why don't I be happy for you? You know, I never understood.
Happy for all these guys. I started with Kerry Louise, his wife. I started with her in the early '90s. We used to go to this open mic. Maybe you went the El Torito in Norwood, Mass.
Oh yeah.
J.A. I think his name was, used to run it. And Kerry Louise used to go every week, and then I used to use her for some stuff. And I used to book Tom, and it's kind of funny how everything comes to all these comics. It's great to see all the comics that are doing so great. I'm happy for
absolutely,
all, you know?
Absolutely. I think it's funny whenever I travel, and if they find out you're from Boston or New England, all of a sudden something goes off in their head. We do have a definite reputation around the country for where we're from. It's just a different, they do respect us. It's interesting.
I think there's some, like, the greatest comics. A lot of the greatest comics are from New England.
Yeah. I think so.
I mean, you could put one headliner up after the other. And you can, so many great acts.
John, I remember the first time I went to LA when I did the Laugh Factory. I'm nervous, and I'm watching acts going in front of me. They sucked. After about the third guy, right? I'm going, this guy will get booed out of Knicks in 2 seconds. But it's LA, it's LA. So and I think that's when it connected to me, how good the guys back home are. Really, so
I think you appreciate that as time goes on, especially this pandemic. You're hanging around with guys like Lenny Clark and Bill Burr, or different headliners around here, Tony V, and all these different acts, and you're hanging around with these guys, and then all of a sudden the pandemic hits, you appreciate all that more. You miss the days when you could hang around in the green room.
Absolutely.
With all these, the newer guys to the headliners. There's a lot of great guys in the business, and girls.
Oh yeah. No, it's just like you say, just good guys. I mean,
we got a camaraderie. Among comics. It's really special. You know what I mean? It's really special.
Absolutely. And because I did Ace and John did this show, their podcast.
Ace Aceto and Scott Higgins.
Scotty, I'm sorry. Good guys, really nice.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun, and like I said, I just hope for all of us it just comes back, and I think it will, but it's going to take some time. But
I think this year some of it's going to come back, but I think next year will be better.
I think so.
I think that by the fall it might be, some stuff.
I'm with you.
Decent,
Because I think by the fall, I think they say almost everyone will be vaccinated, and I think that'll help. Because it's crazy. It's crazy. I never washed my hands so many times in my life. I'm never washing my hands again when this shit is over.
Have you done any shows during this pandemic, Brad?
I did. Well, last weekend I did one up in New Hampshire for Steen at the cinema there. So we did. I did a Friday night, and the capacity is like 70 people or so with the the restrictions, and it was great. It was really fun. And we were supposed to do 2 shows Saturday, and then turns out someone in the movie theater, not our theater, but was exposed to COVID, so they had to cancel the 2 shows,
Oh,
which
boy.
was because it's like you get back on there, and you know what it is, John. You get back up. I was telling my wife this. So I'm in the middle of my set. Especially, like, I remember your set. And then it was good. It was a good crowd going. And it hit me. I said, how much we've missed. In the middle of my act, I'm like, man, this is fun. We really have gotten a lot taken away, So
when you get the comedy bug, like when you won that comedy riot way back, and all of a sudden you realize I can make people laugh.
sure.
I never get into this like you probably. I never get into this to make money. When they said
No.
it's $25 or $50, I was like, I never got into it. I got into it as a hobby. I figured I'll dabble in it. I never thought I would headline or do whatever. I never saw any of that coming, and that's not why I got in it. And you're the same way, Brad.
Yep. The money was like gravy. It was extra spending money, and like over the years. And now my daughter's a senior in high school, so she's going to college next year. She just committed, so it's extra money, and it's. But you know what, John? And I say this, and I bet you the same way. It's to be able. It sounds corny, but be able to make people laugh. It's for you. It's and that's what I miss too. You miss being able to.
It's a natural high. It's a natural. You just feel like when a joke hits.
Yes.
Or when you walk off the stage after you had a great set.
Yeah.
You're up there for a half hour, 45 minutes, whatever you did, and you get off the stage, and it's like, what a feeling.
Yeah.
You just slayed the crowd, and you just had that great set, and the feeling is like you can't explain it to somebody that doesn't do stand-up comedy. They would never know, but it's addictive because you get into it, and once you get those audiences laughing, and you want more of it and more, and that's what happens. You become. It's a great thing. You know what I mean?
Until we bomb tonight. What the hell am I doing this for? This is stupid. Then you get pissed off. Oh, you think I'm funny? Screw you.
Yeah.
But no, it's I just I hope we get back. We will. We'll get back. We'll get back. But even little glimpses. I know Giggles is opening this week with the tent. They get the tent going up. So Mike's going to start. What else? Anything? Is the Connection doing stuff?
The Connections in Rhode Island's doing. I know they do Friday, Saturday. I think they got a showcase on Sunday.
Yeah.
So I haven't been there because of the pandemic. I haven't been.
Right.
I'm looking to start back up in May. I got a fundraiser. I got a little show at a pub near here, and I got some different stuff.
Good.
I got a place I do dinner shows. June and July, doing one each month. So I got some stuff. A little bit, not much. I got about 5 gigs, like between May, June, and July, but it's at least something starting out. Yeah, I don't know where it's going to go from there. I don't know how busy it'll get or not busy. I'm hoping for the best,
Yeah, and I think so too. People want to go out. Jesus, crazy. They just want to do something. How much Netflix can you watch? You just enough is enough.
I know for me, the first 2 months of the pandemic, I've been 29 years, go with gigs, and all of a sudden, nothing.
Yeah.
And then I remember I had a show March 13th. The night before the show, we had 150 tickets sold. I had this friend of mine, she was going to sing Darlene Andre before the show. And she did comedy too. She was going to do a set, and we had a great lineup. We're all excited. The night before, the banquet manager calls and says, the owner says, because of the pandemic, the show was canceled. I was like shocked. I was shocked. And then the next night, Brad, I went to the Asia Grill, Lincoln, Rhode Island. We used to get 100 people. And I told the owner, let's do it. We had 90 reservations. We go to the show, and then 27 people showed up. And that's when I knew. I knew that night, something big going down here. Something, this is serious,
It was crazy. All because of a bat. A goddamn bat, John.
It's crazy. It's nuts.
Crazy. Not a chicken, not a cockroach, a bat.
It's nuts, man. I never saw this coming. My son had friends in Asia, and he's telling us he lives out of the country. He lives in Mexico City right now. He lives out there, and he's telling us there's viruses coming. You're gonna stock up on food. You're gonna have to cancel your shows, Dad. I said, I've been doing this 29 years. I think I missed one gig because I was saying I don't cancel shows, Dad. I said, you don't understand, David. We don't cancel shows no matter what. That's how I am. If you get into this comedy, canceling shows out of the question. You know,
blizzards. We drive through blizzards.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, he was right. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Everything's getting canceled. All my dates, they went. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, the first 2 months, Brad, I was depressed, you know. Then I wound up doing stuff. I had stuff done around the house, and I got my mind, you know, I got to get into other things. So what are you going to do? This is what we're going through.
No, you got it.
I was able to deal with it better, but these Zoom shows have helped a lot.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Reconnecting with you and other comics, and
it's fun.
I'd love to book you down the road when things come up.
Yeah.
You know? So it's
the best thing is, like guys like us, just comics when you're sitting around off stage, we're all funny as hell. I mean, it could be I always said there could be a sitcom or a show with just comedians sitting around talking. People would love it. Am I right?
It's probably some of the funniest stuff. Some of the guys hanging around. Right?
Telling you, it's some of these guys. You know, like even like the older guys, like Lenny's got more stories. I mean, there's Tony V, our buddy Frank Santarelli. I talked to today.
I love Frank. Yeah, Frank's great. Frank's a hot. He's a hot ticket. That guy.
Of The Sopranos, by the way. Frank Santarelli of The Sopranos.
He's funny, man.
Frank comes to a show. Frank at a show at 80s there at 1 in the afternoon. And he'll call me. He goes, where are you? but these are these guys that are just so funny just to hang out with.
Yeah, Frank is he's very comical. Like off stage, he's very, very comical.
Very, very comical.
Yeah.
But, you know what's funny? I was thinking Rhode Island. And I'm thinking of the connection. And Dana, I love Dana. And I had a show one night. This is a true story, John. And there was two girls in. They were just hammered, you know. And I want to be politically correct, but they were big boned. Yeah, let's say they were big boned. And she would not shut up, you know. So I said, and I don't go with hecklers. I don't like to. Anyways, long story short, all of a sudden she lifts up her shirt. Yeah, and I'm looking at Dana going, you want to take this on me? So she's flabbing in the wind, John. And I said to her, I go, I got to tell you something, man. As an entertainer, I've always dreamed of someone taking their top off. You were not in the dream. I'll tell you right now, you were not in the dream. And I said, I think I speak for the entire audience when I say, don't do that again. We don't want to see that. And she got pissed. She's pissed. She wanted to. Finally, they came. They threw her friend out.
Better get them out.
Oh, I said to Dana, at what point do you think we were going to get rid of her? Did it take the flash? Is that the barrier we've set here with the Comedy Connection? But yeah, that was I used to like that club.
That's never happened to me in 29 years, 30 years.
Yeah, I didn't know what at first. I'll be honest, John. I said, yeah, they're all out there for me. That's it. And the floor was clean. Put it that way. Where she was.
Oh man.
Right. It's just
that's crazy, Brett.
Crazy. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. This is funny stuff. People are funny, you know. I mean, and because you do you're really good with the crowd. And that's and that's a talent. I mean, to do that, that's you got to be quick.
The only thing about crowd work is I've had clubs that'll book me and clubs, well, you do crowd work, we can't book you. So I've had some clubs, yeah, I've had some clubs, no problem, they love it. And some bookers love it, and other bookers say I can't have you because of the crowd work. I don't mention names. Yeah, some book you because just like some guys, they may not like a musical act with a guitar, they may not like impersonations or whatever. I found I had to kind of get, for a while, it bothered me like when I got into the crowd work and I got good at it, pretty good at it. It bothered me because I said to myself, if I go up and make the crowd laugh at my time, half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever I got to do, and if I get off and they all laugh, and I didn't, I try not to offend anybody, which I'm pretty good at not crossing the line. So, I mean, if you can make them laugh, if this guy goes up and makes them laugh, and you go up and make them, and I go up and make them laugh, everybody should be happy, but it's not the case. If they may not like you're a clean comic. There might be guys that I want an off-color comic. They're too
Oh,
clean.
yeah.
Or they might say to me, the crowd work, or this other guy, the music. I've seen it. I've gotten used to it, Brad.
Yeah.
For a long time, it bothered me, but I started booking my own stuff, and I said, the heck with it. I mean, if they don't book me,
that's even better.
Yeah, like Johnny Peasy used me a lot at the LOL in North Andover. I headlined for him out there. I love Johnny. He's a great guy. And I went out there.
John, another guy, been around forever. Johnny's done great. You know, he's done very well. And he does the magic too. You know, he does the magic.
He's great at the magic. He did a trick for me and my son were there, and he did a trick with a card. This card, I'll give us all this trick he did. It was awesome. It was unbelievable. Yeah, it was like I still got the card on my wall. I signed one side, my son signed another card, and somehow it wound up on the same card. And so I still keep it with me.
That stuff blows me away. It does. It blows. I don't know how the heck they do that stuff, and he's been able to put both of it together.
Yeah, he's done a great job. Great guy to work for. You know,
I
said, he doesn't mind the crowd work, but other comics, some guys don't mind it at all. Some do. So you got to get used to it. You got to kind of adapt and say that's the way it is. That's the business. You know, you got to get used to it. You know,
that's exactly it. You can't. In this business, you know. You can't take it personal. It's hard not to sometimes, but you're like, well, why wouldn't you use? But like I say, everyone is, you own the club outright. It's their decision, and you got to go by that, and I respect that. So
that's why I like booking a lot of my own stuff, Brad, because a lot of times what I'll do, because some comics don't want to follow the crowd work, so what I'll do is I may have you on the show headlining, right. I'll say, look, I'm going to go up at the end for 20 minutes. I'll go up. Because when you do your own show, you can say, I'm going to headline or do 20 and I'll say, I'll go up and do 20. You just bust the crowd up and leave them laughing.
That's a great idea.
The headliners, they don't mind. They say, it's your show, you know. And,
well, because to me, if you're really good with the crowd, I think that's a good way to end the night. I agree with you. Because now you're getting a good show, and then you end doing the crowd work, which they like, and they know you're going to do it.
Because some guys don't want to follow the crowd work, and I understand. Because if you get the crowd all worked up, and then somebody goes up, and it might be a little harder for them, you know.
You know what I always said, and we all know, no names, never to mention names, but there's certain guys you'd work with, and I don't want you to do this, and I don't want you to do this, and I would say to myself, look, if you're funny, you're funny. You're going to be just as funny. It shouldn't matter. So just worry about yourself. I used to hate those people when I was just starting. I don't want you to do this. I won't mention the name. Funny story. This guy's on. And I was relatively new. Comedy Connection at Faneuil Hall. I was hosting. So the guy comes up. I'm going to go on. He says, here's what I want you to do. He says, now, like I said, I'm not a comedian. I'm cleaning carpets all day. I'm working. He says, here's what you're going to do. When you're done, if people get up to go to the bathroom, I want you to stay on until they get back and they're all seated, and then you bring me on. John, here's what I did. I'll tell you the name off. Someday I'll do it. I go, now let me tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to go up there. When I'm done, I'm going to introduce you. Now, if someone's taking a shit right in front of me, I don't care. This is what I'm going to do. So when you see me done, get ready. I don't care what's happening. And he's like,
what did he say?
He said, well, he was like, I think he was stunned because usually people will go, okay, yeah, all right. But like you said, I didn't care. I wasn't a comedian.
Was he a bigger act at the time? Or?
At the time, not anymore. But he just, the attitude got me. I was so pissed off. Like, I'm not gonna, what do you want to wipe your ass too? What do you, I mean, look at, when it's your time to go on, I'm going to bring you on. That's it. I'm not going to go make you a salad. So, but guys, it's moments like that. You say, look, we're in a comedy club in Faneuil Hall. You're not doing a movie. You're not better than anybody else. Just do what you're here to do. That's it.
Yeah.
But most guys are great. You know, most guys, top notch. You've met a few. I've met a few. All right.
Yeah. I mean, it's people. I can drive you nuts if somebody does that, man. I like the way you told them.
I had one guy. He would always make me bring him up that he was a writer for the Tonight Show. And I was like, wow, you write for the Tonight Show. So make sure you say it. Make sure you say it. Come to turn out, he would send jokes in, but Leno never used them. So I started sending jokes in, and Leno used them. I got paid. So now I see this guy. I says, tell him I'm a writer for the Tonight Show. Because I was.
Oh, man.
But I always say that once. I don't even say it as an intro or anything. I mean, he literally used a few jokes, but technically, I could say I wrote for the Tonight Show because I got paid.
Yeah, yeah. I used to love Leno. By the way,
Yeah.
He was great. And Letterman, I love those guys.
Yeah.
And
Well,
miss those
the guys that make you tell them I was in this movie. I was in you were, and they were an extra, like in the background. I'm like, really? I want to tell you in the movie? Jesus, come on.
These guys got crazy. They got crazy intros.
Crazy. They have a wrist like this. I'm like, I was in a home movie. About the same as you being an extra. It's the same thing.
Yeah, funny, Brad.
Funny. It's just, you gotta laugh, especially nowadays, Johnny boy. And you know, it's like we were talking about. You've gone through with your wife and you. I mean, we're blessed. We're blessed to be where we are and to be able to do this stuff.
Yeah, we'll definitely be back. It's just a matter of when it's going to get, get busy, like,
Matter of time. That's all. We'll be back.
Yeah. So what clubs did you headline through the years, Brad? Before we wrap up?
I think the first ones would probably be Dick Doherty's clubs.
Yeah.
Those were the first ones I probably had, and then I would probably. Nick's, like their satellite rooms. They used to have all those rooms, and then I got in with Mike Clark. I gig with Mike. Mike has been really good to me my whole career. You know, I mean,
yeah.
I didn't headline right away, but Mike, and he knew when I was ready, and but he's been really good to me.
Yeah, he's a great guy, Mike. Yeah,
great guy. And you know what's good about Mike? He tells it like it is. If you don't like it, he won't use you. If he does, he's very honest, and I respect that, that's some people do, I'm like it. He'll use you if you're funny. That's why, you book a good show. You want 3 funny people. You don't want, and Mike's like that. He won't accept anything less. But yeah, he's been very helpful. And we've become, good friends and like all these guys, become very friendly with him. Lenny and Tony V, they were just, in Aruba. There's a club in Aruba.
I saw the picture on Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a nice place too. That Ray Ellen has a nice club, and they're just starting, but small rooms, smaller capacity, but yeah, they're funny. They're funny. It's a lot of funny guys, like Adi, January.
I never worked with Adi. I never worked with him. I heard he's hilarious.
Funny, but he's down in Provincetown. He's a pharmacist, and he's been down there since he hasn't done comedy. He's been really helping out with this stuff and doing really well. But he's funny. Guys like Paul Gilligan. Paul Gilligan.
I never worked with Paul. I heard of him.
Another guy. So there's so many guys, even guys that no one hears of, like myself included. With these guys, hysterical guys, just funny guys.
Well, there's so many great headliners from this area.
So many.
You could pick 10 of them, any 10, and just put them up, and they're all going to come through.
And I see even from working with guys on the ships that are like, maybe some of the national names, they're fine. But Johnny, honest to God, they couldn't hold a candle to most of the guys we work with. I say that honestly, I really do. I mean, not that they're funny, but guys back here, forget about it. They would, So it's nice.
It's gonna be. Maybe it's the top place in the country for comics, New England. I mean,
I think so.
I can't think of any way that could say, because a lot of guys like Burr and Dane Cook and guys like that, and they and Molly, they went Carter, they went to New York and L.A. They were from here. They went out there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is like it's going to be the best area for comics.
Oh. And those guys, people ask me, do you ever think of going to L.A. and I didn't. I mean, I'm happy with it. I got a great wife. I'm married 26 years. My daughters are going to go to college. And to me, it was never worth it to risk that to go out. And that's why I applaud the guys that did it, because it takes a lot to do it. It's hard. And I respect the hell out of all of them. But I don't regret me not doing it. I'm very happy with my life. I think that's the main thing. You got to be happy with yourself.
Yeah, it's like me. I had a job. I was a correctional officer. I was working, and I had a good job, and I couldn't just turn around and up. And I had 2 kids. I couldn't just up and, I admire guys like Burr and Molly and Carter and all these guys that went out there and made it. I'm not saying that who knows if we would have made it or not, but it would have been a thrill to go out there and be in the scene and try.
Right.
And they did it. they made
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? And that's give them credit. You know what I mean?
Oh God, because there's so many guys that don't.
A lot of guys went and came back.
Yeah.
They didn't make. They didn't. It's hard to make it.
Oh, and I give them credit
Lately,
too. It's hard. It's hard. You know,
it's not easy. You know.
No. But like I said, if you can make a few extra bucks and make someone laugh and make some good friends over the years, a lot of memories, a lot of funny memories.
Oh yeah, I love stand-up comedy. I love the business. Some parts of the business I don't like, but I like hanging with the comics. I get involved in a lot of open mics back through the years. I opened a lot of newer comics and
that's good. Stage
time for the veteran comics. I got involved in the whole scene from the beginning to the headliners, and I've enjoyed myself. I really have.
Because there's not a lot of open mics anymore, right? Like they used to be when we were. It's hard, you know.
It's hard to get stage time. Well, before the pandemic, I mean, I was doing twice a month the Comedy Connection on Sunday. I had a couple other open mics going, so I was literally putting on 40 or 50 comics a month, newer comics. I had 12 on a Sunday at the Connection. If I did 2 a month, there was 24 comics.
Yeah.
And I had a Monday night thing going, and I had another Wednesday night. Sometimes I get stage time for 30 to 50 comics, the newer guys, you know. Well,
the kid, Pat McLeod, the Bandit.
Yeah, the Bandit. Yeah, he used to come to the Comedy Connection.
And the kid works. He works, boy. He's always getting on, and he loves it, and he works his butt up, and he's a nice guy, and it's fun to see guys like him and getting better and better. And I know you help out a lot with it, putting them on, and that's what they need. That's terrific. And he takes advantage of everything he can. So
he's a great guy. I have him on here a few times, and he's met so many famous people. He goes and he met Burt Reynolds, and he met Jim Carrey and Letterman, and
everybody.
He meets them all. It's like I have him on, and I'll ask him every shoot time I have him on. I mention 3 or 4. He's got like a list. Famous people he's hung with, met,
He just loves it. He loves the business. He wants it so bad. It's great. It's great to see, I wish we had that drive.
I got to see where my drive was fast like you, Brad. I was like 100 miles an hour. The pandemic hit, and now I got to see where my drive's going to be. I don't know how much I'm going to want to, get back into it. Like how, I don't think I'm going to want to be as busy as I was, but we'll see. We'll see.
You never know until we get. I know we're into like a gray area now. We'll see what happens when it gets back.
See what happens, but it's been great having you on. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
No, this was great, John. I really appreciate it. It's great seeing you. Great catching up. Let's do it sooner than the 20 years ago.
I'm definitely gonna get you up here when I get some rooms going again.
We'll get back.
I love your act. You do a great job.
And I love what you're doing with these shows. It's fun for me to watch and see some of the guys. And it helps out everybody. So thank you for that.
I never forgot that weekend I worked with you. I enjoyed talking to you and hanging out. And, I forget who else was with us, but I remember you. I always remembered you from that weekend.
Yeah, that was a fun little place. That was fun.
You're a great guy, and you've had a great career. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you, John. You too. All the best, you and your wife and the dog. I saw the dog was getting neutered today.
Yeah, my grandpuppy Winston. I hated to see this happen. He got neutered today.
Quick story before we go. Quick story. So I got a dog. I got a rescue dog, right? So we had my other dog was a boy, so we had to get him the surgery. The vet says, I got to ask you this question. Do you want to put 2 fake ones back on? I said, what? They said, no, we have to ask. It's $3,000. They put plastic, I'm not making this up, plastic testicles back on the dog. They said a lot of people that have show dogs do this. So true story. There was a show, one of those dog shows, and the show dog, one never came down, so they had the plastic one put on. So the judges are all around the dog, John. During the show, the one that never dropped. So now we get 3. I swear to God, true story. So I said, so there's your winner right there. You can't beat a dog with 3.
That's great.
That's all. I'll let you go up there, but I had to tell you that story. That was funny.
That's funny, Brad. That's great. Great having you on, Brad.
Thank you so much. Great to see you,
wife,
John.
and good luck to your daughter in college. And
thank you.
What's your rescue dog's name?
Toby.
Toby. Good luck with Toby.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Thanks,
All
Toby.
right, this was fun. A lot of fun, Johnny. Thank you so much.
Thanks, buddy.